Good evening and welcome, everyone. It is a momentous occasion because we are week one. NECC is back, baby. Valorant has never looked better than ever. My name is Sam Tonks. Joining me, none other than the amazing Zobi. And Zobi, it's week one. We had to come out with nothing short of a giga banger matchup with Fisher Tea Party versus Texas A&M Maroon.
For sure, right? The new crowned collegiate kings winning out CVAL last season versus, one of the many versions of Fisher that has now made Division 1 through those playoffs or those play-ins, I should say. And I mean, like you said, we're starting out with the banger. And what's interesting here is that TAMU, right? They have kind of kept things the same, right? Why break up a championship team? Never heard of that before happening in other leagues. Versus the side of Fisher Tea Party, right? They ran these tryouts. They've gotten a new squad together a little bit, but there are some returnees, some familiar faces for that. But I'm excited to see if, they're going to be able to start off the season with a bang, right? Especially against a team that, like we said, is as rehearsed, doesn't have to reinvent the wheel, reinvent compositions around these new players versus, right, Fisher, they really haven't scrimmed that much from what I was seeing, and they really just played the plans and did very successfully.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, it's again, this sort of storyline we've been seeing crop up a lot in Valorant lately, Zobi, where it's a seasoned veteran team that's been through a whole bunch. They have so much experience under their belt versus another team that's like, okay, we're putting this together. Well, it's obviously still Fisher, so there's going to be a lot of those disciplines in place. There's going to be a lot of those protocols still there, but it's still not one that is like Texas A&M Maroon, where they've gone through it all. They have this camaraderie with each other, and they know how each other plays. They've been doing it throughout the season. They've been working together for so long now. So that's where tonight is going to be interesting and seeing how that juxtaposition is going to play out.
Oh, for sure. And I teased that the roster changes. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at these teams head to head, right? We got Javi Bad, KM Lord, who's going to be Kenny in game, Menace, and Moeda. And we also have for TAMU Maroon, Naber, KHS, Osty Frosty, Bing Chilling, and Joba.
Joba. I mean, all of these names are so familiar, right, from the TAMU Maroon side. Fisher Tea Party, sure. There's also some names that stick out there as well that when you look at them, you're like, okay, I know who some of these players are. We've seen them sometimes in the Tier 3 scene, especially in the MFH tournaments.
Yes.
Again, really good players, right? So they're put together. They're trying to form this squad that will see themselves through the NECC Phantom tier division that we're currently in right now. I mean, we're at the top of the top. We're the creme de la creme. So these are not going to be easy battles. And for what we're getting tonight out of week one, a lot of expectations are going to be set off of the happenings tonight.
Oh, for sure, right? To see for the side of Fisher Tea Party if this new squad immediately gels. Because as you mentioned, KM Lord, Javi, they were on the squad last year. But we're having some newer players step in, right? Like Bad, like Javi, or sorry, like Menace, and I think Menace might have been there. But for TAMU, right? I think I want to highlight particularly KHS because that was the newest player to the squad, right? They came in when they got to that LAN at Boise State University, and it was a huge power level up in my mind that carried them a little bit to be that kind of grand finals, that victor, that champion that we now know and love, and they kept them around, right? Obviously, it was successful, so why not run it back and find that success? Now, we were kind of debating here, right? Because we get to see kind of what, I guess, grade level they are all in college, right? And Joba now obviously came out as a freshman, now should be a sophomore. And then we were debating if Naber is actually a senior or is a super senior. What do you think? The IGL, right? The big brains.
The IGL, the big brains, the super senior, bringing it all out to bear. I mean, what could be maybe a final season? Who knows, right? Lot of
either way. Hopefully, it's a final season. Just because we want them to graduate.
We love seeing them out here, but we also, at some point, don't want to see. Listen, I don't want to go. I don't want to get into that kind of discussion. What I do want to discuss, though, Zobi, are maps. I want to see where our globe-trotting adventures are going to be taking place. Well, I'll tell you right now, it's not Abyss or Sunset. But our first map is going to be on Bind. That's interesting, and I do want to touch on that a little bit. Into Ascent, Icebox, and Lotus, gone. And of course, the Decider are going to be Haven. So two of these maps are kind of the collegiate special, Ascent and Haven. But what really sticks out to me is this TAMU pick of Bind.
Yes, and I can shed some light as to why I think it stands out. For me personally, Fisher Tea Party has not played it. They didn't play it all of last season, so they're kind of forcing them maybe into uncomfortability really, really early on. Versus, right, I feel like TAMU Maroon was one of the first teams to pioneer bind and go for some of these different compositions, like pulling out the Nab or Deadlock. So I'm excited to see that. Ascent, I'm not going to touch. We know what's going to happen there pretty much, unless we see, some Vice or some Deadlock action. And then Haven as well is very basic between these two teams, other than the fact that we do get to see Fisher Tea Party bring out the Astra with the new buff, with the 5 stars coming back. Other than that, the bans also make sense for me personally. We didn't release a nice season, and also Abyss, right? We said this is a team that figured out with the episode. Might as well.
Yeah, might as well, right? It's looking at these map picks, everything going on here, there's a lot to talk about. Also, something big to talk about as well, a brand new agent that has been introduced into the Valorant agent pool. It's Vice, right? Coming out here, the new Sentinel, whole ways of being able to shake things up. I don't know if we're going to see her tonight, particularly. Still a little bit new in the whole Valorant everything for them to really be able to gain too much out of it. Outside of scrims and just playing and having fun with it, for them to really be able to find success. Maybe week 1 they do want to experiment with it a little bit, but I don't really see them wanting to do that. Stick with the tried and true, especially on mine, right? That Deadlock has been, I called it garbage, I think, back at NECC Grand Finals, and here we are. We're in a Deadlock world, right? Big potentials for post plant, big potentials for preventing enemies from getting on site, and combine that with a Vice, maybe, right? That kind of stopping power. Oof, rough times ahead.
Oh, for sure. I've had the pleasure of actually casting it already on Lotus, and the Deadlock Vice combo is nutty.
I can only imagine, right? You put up wall. You have like so many different kinds of walls. You are able to slow people down, and then on top of that, you throw in the sonic sensors. You do this kind of like the same way, and that's also the earth-shattering Vice ults, where you lose your weapons, obviously, and you're forced to switch over to your secondary, so no primary usage happening there. Seeing Vice would be a lot of fun, but again, these are the kind of maps where is she going to be able to gain the maximum amount of value? Bind, maybe. But then you look at how Ascent and Haven are going to be playing out. Ascent, especially, where we have those standard compositions, we have those standard metas. Deadlock has kind of been that difference every now and again, but it's still usually seeing what we get out of Ascent.
Yeah, for sure. And I will say last season it was the Deadlock comp run on Ascent as well. So that's something to look forward to.
And hopefully we'll be able to get into that relatively soon here. I do believe we're loading into Bind right now. Our very first matchup here in NECC, the very first map on week number 1. It is going to be Bind, where it is Fisher on defense, Texas A&M on attack. Getting into Agent Select right now. This right here, Zobi, is throwing everything into chaos for me. Because I'm seeing right now an Astra and a Sage for Fisher Tea Party. And on the flip side for TAMU Maroon, business as usual.
Yeah, right. We said it before. This is a team that has everything figured out versus reinventing. They're playing the new meta. They're playing the Astra. The Sage over a Gecko is what stands out to me.
Yeah, they are starting off on defense. The graphic here just flipped for the moment, but Fisher is starting off on defense. So I'm imagining that they want to get the maximum value from the Sage as we possibly can. The other thing to note of here that we don't typically get to see on Bind very often. Oh, never mind.
It's still the same. We're good. We're good.
Wait, hold on. Okay, yeah, it's the same thing. It threw my mind into.
Wait a minute.
Astra,
wait. The names also are incorrect at the moment, but I believe it is in fact TAMU running right the Deadlock. I'm like almost 90% certain. And also Menace on the Astra also tracks for what I have over for Haven. So I'm thinking that this is exactly what we're gonna be looking at here.
It's week 1. Right,
it's week 1. There's going to be tech issues.
Yeah, we were running into some tech issues. That's perfectly fine, though. But yeah, I was thrown off my gourd for a second. I saw Astra, and then all of a sudden it turned into a brimstone. So Astra on Bind. Astra got another star back, right? They reloaded. They found it. It was lost, but now it has returned.
A gift from the astral plane for sure. And that's where I think that this composition is going to thrive, right? Number one, I think even they're running a double sentinel, so it's going to be a little bit harder to actually force your way in to some of these sites. But once you have site control, the post plant is going to be insane because you can set up these aggressive trap wires, you can set up the sage wall, and then you can see, Menace playing off of the site. And I can't wait to see what they do, how they lurk, because I look at this composition and we love, I feel like a good Cypher player, which Moida I think will be playing. But I think I would love to see the Ashe lurk instead, bring back some of the split days. Am I right?
Oh my god, that'd be kind of insane to be able to see that happen. Personally, from both of us, we have seen insane Astra lurks that happen on Split. I mean, Split is about to come back, so if it's going to be able to happen here on Bind yet again, be massive. But at number 1, Bind, we have finally gotten into the game. It's Texas A&M Maroon on attack versus the Fisher Tea Party defense.
Yes, and I think for the composition that TAMU is running here, it really can be a menace on both halves, right? This Deadlock in particular, yes, I talked about the double sentinel potential that Fisher Tea Party's composition brings, but that Deadlock can be even worse, even better for punishment. But this 3-stack looking good here from the side of Fisher Tea Party to hopefully be on the receiving end of this. There's already even some cheesy TikTok sage wall action. We'll see if that maybe thwarts what this net lineup from Nabber is going to be aiming for, but only time will tell.
Yeah, they know. Avi, I'm a little scared for you, buddy. You're hiding up there. They have to know, right, that they're going to be chilling out on the top. No, they don't. They're going to get away with one, but Aussie Frosty has the trade almost immediately. They tried to look to the skies to get rid of them, but coming out through Garden, the rest of TAMU Maroon. So it's a 3v3 already happening here. The Deadlock wall to prevent anyone from walking in through spawn. Spike planted, a 3v3.
This is looking nice, right? They get that initial impact, and now they have to get past, as I mentioned, this post-plant Deadlock utility. KHS doing a good job trying to clear out a lot of these spaces. I like the proactivity, right, from the side of TAMU Maroon, trying to prevent any flood here. And just like that, they're able to do that. The double swing, and the 2 CT players in the meantime take that trade. They take the site control, and bad from the newest members. This duelist is gonna get the job done for their squad.
I mean, the 3v3, but Bad had to take them all on one by one, it felt like. And sitting at such low HP, Joba, the distance working against them with that classic, so close to success here on the first round, but that is going to go in the way of Fisher Tea Party. Regardless, though, for Texas A&M Maroon, they were relatively close. It's something that, had they been able to handle the Javi wall at the very beginning, could have been a little different than what we see here. But now with the buyout for Fisher Tea Party, should be business as usual for this team.
Over there.
At that point, like you said, Javi may not be fast like Tens, but that wall is strong like Tens. And it did a good job just delaying enough time as well for the rest of the team to rotate over. But at this point, right, TAMU doesn't have the weapons. They're just going to be looking for an opening where it's granted. And this is an interesting as well approach, right, when you have this double sentinel, is you don't need players necessarily to fight into showers. You can just place the trap wire up. You can dedicate your Cypher onto the A state when they historically play B, but that's where your Sage is. Now we get to see them try and challenge through this utility, and they're probably going to walk right into the Bucky, but Joba, I think that was partially a wallbang kill, the read, and now they have their own Bucky to fight backside.
Absolutely, they do. Complete and total control of lamps, and you see the Fisher Tea Party is respecting that. You don't want to go into the room where the Joba Bucky is hiding out inside of, and now on top of that, the wall preventing them from really getting close into Nabber's space. They can kind of shoot through it as best they can. Meanwhile, on high ground, no, not on high ground actually, rather through spawn, Menace has that Marshall on lockdown. The dog gathering the information on where everybody is exactly, and now it's a 4v4 with some tepid moments happening here. Aussie, Frosty, and Bing chilling. The double duo, the Sheriff Extraordinaire, Joba coming up through behind. The last second, the 1v1, Joba!
And that is one way to bounce back after losing your pistol round. Like I said, they show disrespect to that Cypher setup. Joba with the wallbangs open up the round. They get that gun upgrade, which you would think wouldn't be that impactful, but it's Joba and it's a Bucky. and that will allow TAMU to bounce back. It disrupts now the buy for Fisher Tea Party versus they just trudge on like normal. And Joba with those frags, even saying, hey, I don't even need the Vandal. Give me a Bulldog. I'll have funds to be the hero if we lose this round, or if I need to buy somebody else moving forward, if it's not a clean conversion like we're hoping for.
Seems there's going to be a clean conversion for Fisher Tea Party. It's going to be that much more difficult, though, with TAMU working in the way that they are. Splitting 3 A main, 2 inside of showers, but that's also where the majority of Fisher Tea Party is, and now we're going to see the lean back to look towards the actual site itself if they're actually here. Wade is able to pick up the 1, but guess what's happening all inside of showers? Texas A&M Maroon superiority, supremacy, and complete domination. Nothing too unexpected. Kenny, you got that classic, buddy. And classic though it may be, Hobby's going to put up some numbers of their own with the Sheriff. They had to do what Texas A&M did against them in the previous round, but it's a 2v1. They pick up the spike, and KHS is not leaving anything to chance. Land the wallbang headshot, land the second round.
And I mean, Javi, they played that to a T. There was nothing else they could do there, right? They're the lone player short, so Resurrection out of the question, trying to isolate the fight onto Aussie Frosty, who is super low HP. So what do? They have Aussie Frosty, you know, play a little bit further back, let KHS take that pixel perfect angle, which I'm sure we would have seen from their POV. I will say though, like I said beforehand, that it wasn't the cleanest. So now we get to see kind of where those reserves from winning out that Thrifty come in to patch some of the holes. And when the side take was cleaned, it was just the counters, the flank, the immediately rush from Fisher Tea Party. So now we're back to buys for both of these squads, and both have pretty nice ultimates, right? Annihilation for an execute, and if you lose a player on this B site hold and force them to rotate, then that Resurrection can easily bring you back to full capacity.
Yeah, but this smoke is doing just enough to prevent TAMU from walking in any further where they want to go. Being chilling, they're keeping an eye on the top of that wall. They know that something suspicious is here. Javi was on top of it last time, and that's been the trend so far against this Sage. All eyes are locked on that high ground. They saw just enough of Javi, forces them down. Bing Chillin is still going to try and take a couple more pox shots through the wall, but this B-side hit has fallen off to the wayside. A lot of showers control gained by Nabber here, though. They're going to keep pushing in more and more. With the loss of that tripwire, though, the rest, the flash here, the net inside of there. Oh, that's definitely not what Nabber wanted. It's okay, though. They get rid of their own wall. It may have prevented them from coming in, but the sonic sensors are going to hopefully prevent them from scaling back out fast enough. But look at this flank from behind. It's going to have to be Bing Chillin to stop it, but they just weren't able to. Kenny lands the headshot there, but it's still 5 HP. It's a Phantom Bra moment. KHS is not going to have quite that same Phantom Bra moment, but Javi, you're talking about that Resurrection, Zobi, bringing them back into the fight. Aussie Frosty, though, and an Annihilation. It's a 2v2. Bat's going to go for the defuse. Couple more seconds over to the half. Nabber, perfection as always here for Texas A&M Maroon, a 3-1.
Yeah, now we're clean, understanding the timings of this deadlock to a T, whether it's the Annihilation, whether it's the swing onto the spike, even the wall bang angles. I mean, there's 7 and 3 here, and it's only countered by Javi, who has been getting really clean on these flank plays, and I think, like, that's expected with this composition, right? You have no concrete flank hold, whether that's a trademark, a trapwire, a killjoy turret, alarm bot. And I think that's kind of where the cause for concern is, but that's also why we're seeing right now a re-wrap after they take site space. They understand, okay, we have to reclaim this, we have to challenge what is these kind of 3-person pressure points.
Okay. Even for how Texas A&M Maroon has been winning out in these rounds, it's still slow going. Put up the wall. Try to throw Fisher Tea Party off their game. But this is going to back away from Garden because they hear the dog coming in their direction. It's not going to be for too much longer. They're not giving up too much of that space. They want to try and hold as close as they can with the Bucky. Bad sees Nabber, but again, it's just a Sheriff versus the Vandal. You missed that first headshot, reposition over towards the safety of U-Haul, and oh, that's exactly what they were hoping for. Couldn't get rid of the trip in time, and the best part about this is the trip is still there. Bing Chillin's gonna see it! Moeda's having some difficulties landing some shots of their own. Chillin maybe blind, but Bad wasn't. That's how they're gonna land that showstopper. They're gonna try and trade in kind. Aussie Frosty did deal some damage, but not the kill. And now Joe is gonna get a taste of their own medicine. Menace had that Bucky in hand, and now it comes down to some Sheriff technique. 32. Aussie Frosty still has a Vandal. 31 HP. Low HP across the board too. You dealing with such a precarious situation here. Smart from Wada to look behind them. Now a 1v1 to determine everything. Aussie Fossey has 31 HP versus a Bucky. They jump from above. And Javi thrifties this with Fisher Tea Party.
And I mean, at that point, right, they realized they used that, you know, card of the flank one too many times. They rotate quick, they fight with full force on that A site to deny the plants all together. And as you mentioned, that Bucky definitely getting a bigger bang for its buck than it did prior on that thrifty round, where Joba was able to use it to win it out in TAMU's favor. And now things are going to start getting dicier for TAMU, right? I feel like Fisher Tea Party, this is a great round to expend some of these key ultimates, so you can finally shut TAMU's wallet down as well. So they'll be forced into a save, and this should be your opening to get back in the lead.
And Javi has really good timing, right? That wall came up at the perfect moment to stop Naber from gaining too much more space out of that. They just have to be smart about not getting caught on that high ground. And Naber knows, especially when they see where that slow orb is coming from. Javi even took a couple of chip damage. Some chip damage, but not enough to really scare them away like we're seeing here again. It's still on the high ground, but finally being punished by Texas A&M Maroon, by Naber, getting them off that high ground and getting rid of this Sage that's been kind of a demon against this team.
And at this point, we get to see the Kalash on the B site. Menace anchoring as long as they can. They take two down with them, but is that enough? It's still going to be a 2v3. They're still going to concede this site control over to TAMU Maroon. My only concern is how split these players are, because if Bad wins out this fight, and that was a big if, this should go in the favor of TAMU Maroon.
Oh, KHS protected Joba too. Brilliant teamwork. It was almost like unintentional bait on the line, but it worked, and that's all that matters. Texas A&M Maroon, it was a slight misstep that happened in the previous round to this one. They were able to course correct relatively okay too, right? The KHS was using a Spectre throughout that entire round, so the entire team wasn't operating at full firepower, and even still, Aussie Frosty is running around with a classic. So the economy still hasn't quite been fixed. Finally, they're able to get that right. All right, there we go. On the flip side, though, Fisher Tea Party, a little bit of frowns all around, and you're seeing that happen here with this gamble stack, Zobi. Oh my god. Oh my god!
And this is a battle stage if I have ever seen one, right? Javi, again, makes it hurt, gives an opportunity to Fisher Tea Party for the clutch, but TAMU has their own ultimates to work with, and only Deagle's in hand. That has to make some magic happen, and so far, so good. 3 Deagle shots in quick succession. They just hit a clip. 1 HP, Sam.
1 HP. Zobi, that could not have been done any better by Bat. Right, they were getting hammered by that orbital strike inside of Lamps. But what do? They run out. They take that wide swing, land the headshot there. They had another opportunity against Naber, or at the very least, Naber had another opportunity to get rid of Bad. But Bad is phenomenal at their movement. That, if you're talking about a clip, Zobi, that is the prime specimen for a clip moment.
And just the confidence, even after the shot that connects on an Aber to turn away as well. They're like, yeah, we won that when they find the final frag. But TAMU now, we've seen that they are accustomed to winning these ecos, and that tripwire just barely too high to catch the satchel in off of the showstopper. Fortunately, the spy cam does connect. And as a result, this showstopper not gonna find anything other than control. So it's a time now to put up the Viper's Pit. And Naber, right, we talked about them, their frag ability, meeting that hopefully of Javi. Well, that means you have another Annihilation online, which is a huge post-plant tool. So they're just gonna be looking to buy time here, right? So they can get players off the spike with this Annihilation. And so far, all 5 are alive as the flood finally comes in, as the wall's finally broken. But what replaces it? A Gravnet.
My territory,
My territory, my rules! KHS, this is all over the place! Javi was moving in fast. Naber, inside of the Annihilation, was able to switch over to the Ghost. This weapon upgrade giving them a lot of firepower. Not quite enough to get rid of the rest of the team, but maybe just enough to give Texas A&M Maroon the win here. Through the smoke, Aussie Frosty. They said if Bad can do it, so can I. Give a raise a sheriff, and they are going to take you all of the way.
And at this point, what are we? 2 for 2 on Thrifties, right? We had the Deagle clutch from Bad. We had Javi with the Bucky clutch. We had the second round from TAMU and that round from TAMU. You said Biden was going to be that wild card, and it is definitely delivering right now, Sam, right? Both of these teams having a hard time pinpointing each other, whether that's, again, credit to the deadlock pick from TAMU Maroon, or credit to this nasty Astra Sage competition where you expect them to maybe be more passive, right? Not have the utility, the aggression behind these agent picks, but they are not afraid to take these fights against the champions of Collegiate right now.
Thank goodness they're taking things slow right now, Zoe, because I need a breather. These past couple of rounds have been high octane. We're still in the first half of week number 1 on map number 1 of NECC. Tier 1 is delivering on all fronts so far. The Phantom Division, anything but quiet right now. It's 2 players on A site, though, for Fisher Tea Party. That is going to be on the high ground, on top of U-Haul. Let's see just how well they're going to be able to take that fight. They're not going to, right? They see Joba, and Joba's enough of a boogeyman, honestly, to send shivers down anyone's spine. And so Bad is going to respect that. Get ready with the boom bot in case they start pushing. You're not going to find any information off the back of that. A couple of pot shots here from Nabber to get rid of it. But this actually pulled all of Fisher Tea Party towards A. They've all regrouped here, and Texas A&M Maroon has yet to still push on the site. And in fact, because of how long that took them, they're going back to B.
30 seconds.
And because of that, Javi had no chance to stand up against KHS using that Vandal. This is going to be an easy site for them to take at the spike.
Yeah, I was about to give credit to Fisher Tea Party and that quick rotation because that's what's been fueling them into these Thrifties when the buys aren't optimal. Having players here ASAP, but they still get over here fairly quickly, right? Spike just having gone down, and here comes the tradability that we aim to see, right? 20 HP, a Bucky can finish it off, so send Bing Chilling in to finish off your work to keep it semi-flawless for Texas A&M Maroon, and we finally get a normal round of Valorant where a Thrifty does not come through.
Yeah, and this is what you were talking about, right? It was almost mad props to Fisher Tea Party for realizing that Texas A&M Maroon were here, but that kind of next level mind games that we're seeing from the CVAL champions was really put onto full display. Take advantage of as much of that timer as you possibly can, and even though they weren't quite, they were still a little shaky getting onto site, thinking that someone had to have been here, right? It couldn't just been Javi by themselves, the Sage alone. It pretty much was, and so devoid of life. Hopefully this time, Fisher Tea Party, they've revived themselves.
Mm-hmm. Now, that's that security of a 6th round. Now it's a change of pace here, right? Fast acceleration over towards this B-side. Deadlock Viper lurking towards A this round because they maybe understand how quick now the rotations are for Fisher Tea Party after a few Thrifty rounds witnessed. But speaking of speed, look at the scale up A.
Yep.
Ooh.
That's also what I kind of wanted to see from Fisher Tea Party, and they didn't let Nabber get away with it either. They got right in their face, they got aggressive, they went down lane, and what do they walk away with? 2 players from Texas A&M Maroon. They've gotten rid of the deadlock, but inside of it, it's gonna be the dog. So the tripwire is activated, but they weren't ready for the second one. And even though Moeda may still be blind, they are not out for the count. One single cipher is all it takes. Flawlessly done from Fisher Tea Party.
Ooh, and like you said, the anchor there from Moeda is just textbook, and they get the support as well from Kenny there in to elbow, so that they have to worry about not just Moeda swinging off of their utility, but also the pressure mounting out of that part of the site as well. So Fisher Tea Party not going down without a fight. They convert their buy round, and now this is where things get interesting. Ultimates back up and ready to go for Fisher Tea Party, so we're again in a position where they have this catch-up opportunity, right? That's the issue. They've been winning these Thrifties, right? Periodically, but then it doesn't turn into consistency, right? It's these heroes popping off in certain rounds, but this round, no heroes to be found. Orbital Strike forcing them out of showers here, and Bad again with a first blood on the round here.
Yeah, this time around though, Bad not afraid of giving up this spot. They feel ready, they feel good to go. You've gotten your first blood, and they know where you are, so Bad making the quick adjustment to get out of there. Over on the other side, here's a showstopper, and the Menace grab well to keep them locked in. KHS had nowhere to go. It wasn't even the showstopper that got rid of them. It was the Astra themselves. Here it comes, a concuss, leaving them blind, leaving them stunned, leaving them wondering what they need to do to get the victory here on this round. Texas A&M Maroon is having such difficulties getting through. Being chilling the way that they have, needs to fight back, needs to give themselves a foothold, blind all around, spray in the dark, but instead the light comes to them in the form of Kenny. Nosy Frosty, try though they might. One looked clean, but so does Muta.
Last round in the half.
And at that point, right, if they were able to get that frag on the Cypher, Kennedy was 5 HP. So Aussie Frost, like you said, putting up a great attempt there. And that's the issue I feel like with Texas A&M Maroon right now is, yes, they're leaving these lurk players, but they're never really rotating, right? Even though they're baiting out these rotations really, really heavily for Fisher Tea Party, right? And it might just come out of the fact that this is the first week of the season, right? You have no VOD material to go off of. You don't know what the tendencies of this new squad are. And that's something that if I'm going to go up against this team in week 2, I'm going to be like, all right, guys, we should be able to get these sites for absolutely free, because B is quite often getting left open when these aggressive A hits come through, and that's why they're having so much difficulty just getting the spike down, even when they have, you know, the Viper and the Smokes and the Deadlock wall over in CT. Just when you have 4 players there, that Deadlock wall, even with its high HP, means absolutely nothing. So this is exactly what TAMU may be looking to do, right? More of a defaulted approach, look for an opening and then convert.
Things are so few and far between for TAMU, and it feels like every single time they try to hit those, falls off to the wayside. Star coming at the feet of Aussie Frosty. The team is spread out all across the map. Some towards B, some towards A. And it's like you said there, this is something we don't get very often, Zobi.
Astra.
An offer in the hands of Astra. Okay. And they get first blood. So how much more are they going to be able to do with that, right? That's the real question. Bad still up here on top of U-Haul. We're waiting to see over on the other side. Joba's going to try for it again, but it's not going to work. Aussie Frosty has a lot on their shoulders to get something from the back of the showstopper, but Javi comes out of lamps like a guiding light. That's supposed to be for Sky. They even have a res if things really start going sideways. And hold on a second, KHS may have just turned it all on its head. I mean, Javi, it's the final half, right? Or it's the final round of the first half.
Switching sides.
And you brought it here, 6-6 with a 3K of your own.
Yeah, and I think, again, it's been hard to pinpoint where the rotations are coming from or where these players from the side of Fisher Tea Party are playing on their defense, right? You see an operator on the site, you're like expecting, right, to be the lesser stacked site because they have trust in an operator to scare you away. And so what do? They re-hit the A site, but it's actually stacked, right? Javi, that top frag, 16 and 9, is still there anchoring in to U-Haul to get the proper timing, baiting that showstopper in the back site control that TAMU was trying to gain. They tie things at 6-6 here. And again, a great showing from Fisher Tea Party out of the gate against Texas A&M, or your previous CVAL champions. We'll get to see if they can keep it up because, I mean, I want to remind you guys that this is TAMU's map pick as well. So, want to see them win this pistol. I want to see them grasp that lead firmly by the hand and carry it forward into a victory.
Still being chilling. They were ready to go with the smoke, but I'm going to leave it off to a little bit more trepidation before letting that happen. See how far forward they're going to keep scaling here. They don't have a molly, instead opting to go with the stim beacon. Gets them out of there just a little bit faster. Gets them in their face a little bit faster, too. And he's set up with the guiding light, but the classic bullets are going all around them. And for Texas A&M Maroon here, too. I mean, good God, Aussie Frosty. With a perfect paint show like that, with a flawless round like that from TAMU. Well, that's the kind of boost you need going into the second half.
Oh, yeah, confidence from utility kills for sure. And I can't quite tell if that was a deadlock combo, but if that's lethality without that, then I can't wait to see the coordination between the two top frags in the lobby right now for the side of TAMU Maroon. But as I said, what I want to see them is them convert that. I'm not saying that they were the one that fumbled the second round last half, but they got to make sure they don't. And KHS with this Phantom buy as well, saying that, yes, we are going to hold on to this lead tooth and nail here. And they seem to be in a prime position as well to punish this long scale up.
Oh yeah, that's perfect for them. No one's gonna fall from it, but those are kind of like warning shots. If you want to come in this direction, you're gonna have to sacrifice a lot to make it happen. And you hear on top of that a Vandal, so abusing the long range that you get from it against classics of all things, it's gonna be so difficult for Fisher Tea Party to do anything here. And that's why you see the entire team back off, go back towards Spike, and see if maybe greener pastures are gonna be found on A site. But this is Bind. This is Texas A&M Maroon. So you might just be walking into your death.
Or you just might be walking into something bad. But to scale up here over towards the A site. So late in the round, less than a minute left, and the immediate commitment, the immediate rotation coming out here as well. And the immediate rotation and pressure into the judge. Bing chilling a 2-piece here. Now you add a Vandal on top of that. So it's gonna be the last thing you expect when you jump swing.
Oh, it really is. Javi, though, always a knife in the dark, always a sheriff menace, but Aussie Frosty is going to make sure their team is surviving. You saw all of that fancy jumping maneuver. Not surviving, rather losing any more weapons than they already have. Texas A&M Maroon continues that lead. It's now 8-6, but here it is, the bonus. Fisher Tea Party getting the weapons in their own hands. This is a moment that Fisher Tea Party needs to stop TAMU in their tracks.
For sure, and they have the buy to do it. And I feel like this is something else. TAMU Maroon's not really the team to fiddle with the idea of an outlaw as frequently as other teams, so you're not going to get punishment for that either here. That's huge for them. And it also, though, gives TAMU an opportunity with these Spectres, with these, worse weapons. A 145 to the head, that's now going to kill you without a full shield. So my eyes are also going to be on Nabber here, and again on the judge. Right place, right time, right flash placement as well. That's Javi, that's your top frag gone, Sam.
Yeah, that was so close. You can see that Bing Chilling had the ideas in their head, play out the guiding light, go in with it again with the judge. Jova sees Moeda, but it's the Vandal working against them. That Spectre, still deadly in its own right, but not deadly enough. And KHS, the one who was supposed to get rid of them, that Vandal, the headshot was so close, but not close enough. Aussie Frosty had to switch over to the Sheriff just to be able to get rid of them, and a lot of noise happening. Hit the TP, go over towards A. The good news, Aussie Frosty was going to go and pick up the Vandal left behind by KHS. The bad news, doing that gives Fisher Tea Party time to set up. Ooh.
There it is. Like I said, the Deagle doing work here. Even the chip damage onto Kenny is good. And Aussie Frosty, who picked up the Vandal from their fallen teammate here, should be able to carry it forward. I mean, regardless, right? This has been huge economic damage, right? Because this is your bonus. They should be able to buy next round for the most part if you are TAMU Maroon, but I think Aussie Frosty is going to try and go for the clutch here. The only issue is, as I mentioned, is all of this Asher utility in the post plant. Now they have information, they know where Kenny is, and I don't expect any utility, so this is a nice satchel kill, and you gotta retap, you gotta bait out this Gravel before it's too late, and you gotta find information as well onto where Menace is.
They think it's showers. They think it's showers the entire way through. Even though you don't get the spike here, you may have been able to grab Menace at the very last moment. Here's the thing though, right? Texas A&M Maroon, all dead. Fisher Tea Party, only one player survives. That's Menace. So the buy is going to be kind of all over the place. It's not going to be quite as strong as they were hoping for it to go into this round. For Texas A&M Maroon, what they were hoping for. And you're seeing that too from KHS. Go Outlaw. They're only going to be able to buy light shields. Javi's thinking ahead of the game, though. They're going to pick up heavy. They don't want to be caught in that trap of the Outlaw game that that KHS is trying to play. Let's see if it pays off for Fisher Tea Party.
And it's so funny because I just mentioned that you don't typically see this from them, but I think they recognized when the judge was having impact, when the the sheriff was having impact, that they could try and pull an outlaw out, but unfortunately KHS, you gotta be faster on the draw, because as a result, you've been dropped by Javi, and that was a huge part of the hold on this site, because the showstopper is gonna crack it wide open. Your pseudo sentinel gone, your entry off of the sage wall is good, and Bad got ahead of that as well, so they were trying to claim deeper CT pressure, but that overheat now punished, and there's an opportunity, I would have said, with that showstopper online, but Aussie Frosty falls as well. And as a result, you're left to Navar, who would have to go huge on this flank. And Bing Chilling, who's walled up, trying to take advantage of this minuscule gap.
That crack in the wall is so small, and Bing Chilling was so close. Fisher Tea Party's kind of weak. There is a regrowth that could bring Muta back up to full health. There's really no reason for them to worry on that. Nabber has an excellent opportunity here, though. Menace bringing out their utility, thinking that flank was clear. They did look behind them, but Nabber, with that double kill, what may have been closed, a foot in the door. Out goes the grab neck grenade. They are tied down to the ground, but they have run out of ammo. Nabber needs to go over. They have the annihilation and reeling them in to their death. In the very last second, Nabber putting on the cape. TAMU Maroon hero at clutch factor in full effect.
The IGL, the hero, the flank that clutches out a pivotal round for them. Otherwise, it would have been their lead demolished. We would have been tied 8 apiece. And what did I say when I saw Bing Chilling swinging on an elbow? I said, nah, this flank has got to be huge. And when you're out of options, you're out of bullets, what do? You pull out the annihilation at perfect timing. And that's, again, just the understanding to a fundamental level of this deadlock kit, right? Particularly that net pinpointing not one, but two players, because you get that double sound cue, unless they're like in perfect sync of removing that crouch from the side of Fisher Tea Party, and all of that leads to conversion. But speaking of conversion, Bing Chilling not converted out of their judging ways. This is the third time. We'll see if they can squeak by again with the impact it has brought. I think they've been at least good for one each time, if not two.
Toxin screen down.
Yeah, they've been a menace on that judge, Zobi.
Yeah.
Very painful. Hobby's also been a menace with that sheriff. Bad. Same discussion point that could be had here. Aussie Frosty, there was nowhere that you could go. Leave it to Fisher Tea Party of all teams to be operating with sheriffs, stingers, and still getting rid of the entire team. Bing Chilling's flank, though, has been exposed by the North Depth. They know they're coming from a different direction, but if Nabber's done it once, they are going to do it again. Bad sees no other option here than to play aggressive, try to catch Nabber off guard, but Nabber is in full control of their faculties. Texas A&M slipping into the double digits.
Yeah, that was very, very well played between the two remaining players, right? Bing Chung with that swing, they understand that, okay, they have to be going backside or hut because of that incendiary, and the angle that's first to make contact in that kind of situation is getting held by Nabber. They don't let another deagle round go in the favor of Fisher Tea Party. No more thrifties is what they are grand standing here. As they reach double digits, they have a bye, they have ultimates on line. This is where Fisher Tea Party, I mean, it's the first week, you might not necessarily take timeouts, but this is when this could be your last ult cycle and before the end of bind if you don't win this round.
And Menace was in such a bad spot, right? They saw the wall come up. They saw the guiding light go out there. They heard the noise, but Menace really had nowhere to go except for to bank up and maybe play for a pick there. They do deal a significant amount of damage to Nabber. Guess what? It's regrowth out, and you all go inside of TP. There's really no one here to find them. You have Seekers. You have so much utility here from Texas A&M Maroon to get them away. Javi on the flip side does have that revive to get them back in the game, but expended that ultimate and still no space gathered off of this.
Just like that.
You want to find
Speakers
it.
don't find too much of an impact, and here comes Execution, finally getting to see hopefully an impactful Cosmic Divide here, but the players meet it head on from TAMU Maroon. I wouldn't be even surprised if as soon as this rotation's complete, we see a showstopper as well. You can't hear this spike plant, the spike tap. Now, how do you challenge through a flash? And Big Chilling is ready.
Meanwhile, you have Nabber stuck inside of Lamps 2. Gonna try and go up against Bad. In and of itself would be a bad idea, but so is Aussie Frosty inside of Showers, hanging around there for far too long. It's gonna end in your own demise. Nabber has 18 HP, but guess what, Joba? The support, the Viper, extraordinaire in and of themselves, has to come outside of the cage. Now it's down to the 2v1 for Aussie Frosty. But the good news here, Fisher Tea Party, like 3 HP combined? That's all they need. 3 HP combined. That's all Muta had to work with. And they're still landing headshots like it's nobody's business. Fisher Tea Party, they ain't done yet.
And again, I talked about it, that Cosmic Divide just kind of thwarting them enough to where these on-site fights could go the way of Fisher Tea Party. And I think I liked that productivity as well. It felt like it maybe wasn't expected from the side of TAMU Maroon. And I think that, I guess, translates very well after what we saw in their defense and how they were very contest the spike plant before it happens with their understanding of how TAMU Maroon's composition functions. But as you mentioned, TAMU Maroon not out of the woods yet. And we're not really seeing, as I would say, as many competent plays. But then you have this double fight out of the short. And with a regrowth online as well from KHS, they're going to be, all that impact is going to be moot. And speaking of impact, look at this net. Going to buy enough time for the troops to rally here over on the A site, which is fundamental if they want to get this Thrifty online.
I think I saw the idea of using the orbital strike while they're stuck inside of the net. Either that or to just get them out of Showers. One of the two. Either the way, it did force Fisher Tea Party, all of them, to go onto A main.
Here.
That's good for Texas A&M. What they don't know, though, is if anybody's still in there. And so that Showers control is still going to be something that they're worried about majority of the time. That wall going up, though, could be that extra wrinkle into there. Texas A&M Maroon is hurting. They're hemorrhaging. They're bleeding, but they're still alive. And Nabber's going to take one down, and their dying gasp, their dying breath and leaving it for a 2v4. Spike has been planted. Fisher Tea Party, you do see Bad with that showstopper. A good way to fight back against this team unless Being Chillin is just going to jump right-click with a classic of all things. And they're going to do it again, this time though to gather information. Where is Bad hanging? What is Bad doing? One from the ace, but Aussie Frosty is not going to see this raise succeed. Texas A&M Maroon prevents the ace, prevents the round 1, and Thrifty's their way to round number 11.
And they have pulled ahead in the Thrifty count for this map with that victory as well. And I was nervous there for a second, right? So many players, I think it was 3, a lick away from death there, and a paint shell comes through. Like, it's impressive that Bad had that much utility that late into the round as well. And if they had time to retuck, I even probably would have given them the showstopper to get that ace online. So the fact that, again, TAMU Maroon has played for this long shows in some of those micro plays when it comes to the retake, because they are swinging without delay, with heavy tradability here, and it is showing against a Fisher Tea Party, where now they're trying to fend TAMU Maroon off of map point with stingers, with, you know, yes, some vandals, but light shields. It's going to be rough around the edges, and with losing your lurking sentinel, it's only going to get worse.
And Never's just saying, okay, you know what? Heck with it. Put up the wall. We'll stop them from coming in. And Aussie Frosty's still going to take one down. Right? There's no... The only thing for Fisher Tea Party here is to continue to try and get rid of the wall. And that's actually what they're going to do. Their sights, their ideas are set on B for right now. Either that or just making a lot of noise to try and grab TAMU away from A. But that plan isn't working either. They're still holding a stalwart stranglehold onto A. They're not leaving that. And it's also not forcing them off of B either. This team is not giving up a singular inch to Fisher Tea Party, whose final idea is still leaning towards this B site.
They haven't even breached the deadlock utility, right? And the Viper's wall from Joba's not even active. They're trying to convince them that nobody is home here. And I mean, they're also, I feel like, just trying to bait out the showstopper simultaneously. Like, it's a 3v5, you lose the showstopper and you lose the round. That's TAMU Maroon basically guaranteed a closeout to this map. And at this point, as soon as contact is made over here on the A side, Joba has a nice angle, but Javi is faster, like Teds. And as a result, it's Being Chilling again.
So
Has to
good.
pick up the slack.
I can't believe it. Javi is fast like Tins. It was an immediate readjustment to go behind there, and brilliant patience from Fisher Tea Party has just led the way open. KHS got back over here fast though. Oh, Kenny, you wanted to switch weapons in the middle of pulling out their showstopper. Instead, the only show being stopped is the Bad Rays game. You leaving it all on the shoulders of Javi. They're fast like Tins. Guess what? They also die relatively fast too. Put away Texas A&M Maroon. Match point.
And I love that out of Being Chilling, right? When all hope is lost, what do? You W key out of Razel. It works 9 out of 10 times, and that is the case there go around. And that would have been huge, right? Because then they could have redirected their attention to the fights on site, to the flood coming in from back site. And as a result, like I said, if they were able to flush out that on the thrifty attempt for Fisher Tea Party, now that they, you know, half-forced last round, they're not going to have a full buy. I mean, there's 2 judges for crying out loud, and they're not going to have any ultimates to work with. Like, yes, they're 1 off from their left, 2 off from Rez, 2 off from the Seekers, but what are the odds these actually come online in this round versus high odds for Job and Austin Frosty to get their ult online for TAMU Maroon, especially when they get a spray down through the smoke, especially when you shoot a satcheling Bad out of the sky. It's all going TAMU Maroon's way.
Yeah, I mean, these two are playing point defense on this map right now. You try to go through this meat grinder, and you're going to get decimated. Now you've even seen Muta. Aussie Frosty, whatever, they're done with this map. Joba is too. 1 last player left remaining alive in a 1v5. And the Menace, their name is actually Joba. A flawless final round from Texas A&M Maroon to take map number 1 of Bind in week number 1 of NECC.
And other than that Bucky clutch, right, on the Thrifty, I think we didn't get to see Joba shine until that last moment, right? They were the sneaking threat, the supportive Viper, so it did feel like all of the team members on the side of TAMU Maroon got their spotlight at some point during that map, Sam.
Yeah, this is what we like to see from TAMU Maroon, right? And this is what we wanted to see from them. The CVAL champions are flexing their muscles yet again. They may have been dormant for a little while, but their strength has not deterred from them, it felt like, that much. And on their own map pick of Bind, right, that is the showing that we needed to see. And once they got past, I think, a little bit of the curveballs that were being thrown at them from Fisher Tea Party, they were able to take it like champs, and they were able to close things out pretty convincingly, 13-8. So we look at what Fisher Tea Party is done, though, on Bind, and it's also kind of impressive, too. A map they haven't played on, a team that's still in this coagulation state, right? So when we get to go to Ascent, a map that they picked, a map that they're comfortable on, granted, it's Ascent, but we should be seeing a team that's firing, hopefully, on all cylinders.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you said it right. Everything that was going up against the side of Fisher Tea Party. You didn't even add in the fact that they're playing an anti-meta composition and learning how to navigate that against what's such a weird composition as what TAMU Maroon is able to run. And I think they did a really good job once they figured out how to counter it, particularly with those quick rotations. So I see problems with the squad, especially coming out so far hot out the gate, putting up a number against TAMU Maroon, but job's not done yet. Like you said, Ascent up next, and I hate to, spoil the parade, but they might have to go up against the Nav or Deadlock here again, right? That is something they like to pull out over on Ascent versus for the side of Fisher Tea Party. It's, again, like we said, a new squad. We have no clue what they are running, but I will say I would not be surprised if we see an Astra pick over an Omen, just because on Haven they actually run the Astra over the Omen as well, and Menace was a menace on it, to say the least.
That they were. Are they going to be able to keep that going? Is Fisher Tea Party going to be able to take map number 2 of Ascent and send us to our final battleground of Haven? We'll find all of that out and more after this break.
Jerky. Call me a meathead, but when I want a meat snack, I want real meat. The kind you find at Wenzel's Farm, and the only kind they use. Handcrafted in small batches and naturally hardwood smoked right here in the heartland of America. Wenzel's Farm offers 14 flavors of mouth-watering protein-packed power in a stick, except no substitute. Wenzel's Farm, real meat for real life. You work hard and play hard. You need real fuel to power your day. Not some tofu stuffed rice cake or plant-based meat substitute. No, you need honest-to-goodness, homegrown, protein-packed power in a stick. You need Wenzel's Farm. Quality cuts of meat handcrafted in small batches and naturally hardwood smoked for a great-tasting snack that delivers real energy. Power up and put the smack down on whatever your day brings with Wenzel's Farm. Real meat for real life.
What do you make of this up here? Just showed up in the yard a couple days ago.
Dog been digging in here?
I don't think so, dude. That goes way down in there. Seriously, did you just lose your meat stick?
Yeah.
Oh, no. There's something in there, dude. Just leave it.
Are you kidding me?
We'll just head to us. Just leave it.
The hell with that.
Oh, yeah, there's something in there.
Want one?
Thank you.
It was worth it.
Oh, man, this is incredible.
Oh, wow.
Huh?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Hey, man, grab me a meat stick. I think I can reach it if I just a little more. Just let me go a little. I can't. Just a little more. I almost got it. Careful! Oh, God. No. Come on, just reach. Reach. Just grab my hand. Grab my hand.
Give me the meat stick. This other hand's closer. The one with the stick is... Oh! What am I supposed to say?
It doesn't matter. His daddy ain't listening to you anyway.
I'm hungry.
No. Put it away. I can't watch it. Just reach in. You gotta pull it. Just grab it. Just take it out of his hand. What do you mean you can't?
He won't let go.
What do you mean he won't let go? He's dead.
Help me. Get in there. No, just hold on.
Make him let go of it. No, I got you. Just go in for a hug. Go and get on in there. It's a bad loss. Yeah, hug him up. Just reach. Hug him up.
He's breathing.
On the other side. Go.
I can't.
Just-
I can't do it. Help!
Help me, Lord. Help me get over this loss.
I can't breathe.
Yeah, I can't breathe. I'm so upset. I can't breathe. Stop. You knock on wood so they go to heaven. It's like a lucky. Hey, get the stick.
Yeah.
Hey, do you the meat stick?
Yeah, I got it.
Hey, just hold tight for a second. They're moving the casket. Just hold tight.
Yeah, that's no worries. I got it.
Oh, what an awesome day for a pump, dude.
Yeah, I gotta take it easy. Doc says if I exert myself, I will die.
You overexert yourself, you will die.
I'll tell you what. You finish the workout, all these could be yours. That looks good. A little bit of honey ham for the ham. Get after it, and that's your get after it, and that's your treat. Hey, do the exercise, do the work, then you get the reward. That's how this works, man. You gotta give it max effort, maximum effort. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Big hams. Make it work, those hams. Work 'em. Putting in the work. Yeah, baby. Yes. Dude, this is a spicy workout. Gotta make it worth it. Building the beef and bringing home the bacon, baby. I'm loving it. Teriyaki is just about within your reach. Come on, get you some. Come on. Maximum effort. Maximum effort. You're there. You're almost there.
That's so worth it.
Ooh, all right. Week 1 of NECC Valorant is already proving to be everything we could ever want and more. But it's still a TAMU Maroon victory on map number 1 of buying their own map pick. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the stats coming out. Is nuts from Aussie Frosty. Not insane on the first kills necessarily, but a 380 ACS, 29-14. On the flip side, though, Javi is going to take the Fisher Tea Party MVP with 3 first bloods, Zobi.
Yeah, that is the definition of a battle stage for sure. And my big question mark is how many first bloods did Bad have? Because I feel like it was Bad opening up the rounds, and then if things got dicey, then it was Javi clutching the rounds. So that's going to be that kind of, I guess, duo synergy that I'm going to look forward to when we get over to Ascent. But beyond that, TAMU, like we said, only 2 first bloods for Aussie Frosty show how well rounded this squad truly was, right? I feel like Bing Chilling might even be up there on the First Bloods for how many times they were engaged while anchoring in U-Haul, and even KHS when they were taking those duels over towards B Long. Like, they're doing very, very well across the board. I mean, the stats show it. And I mean, Austin Frosty robbed with a 30 bomb.
Impressive stats. Pretty scary stuff to be seeing from the first week of NECC Valorant. But now we talk about map number 2, right? We go into Ascent, where TAMU Maroon still likes to shake things up. They still like to throw things away for what is the standard Ascent composition, where we might still get to see the deadlock yet again. And you're also feeling that for Fisher Tea Party, we haven't seen the end of Astra yet.
I will never hate having to cast an Astra pick, right? Like, I will never get tired of the clutch potential when you get a perfectly timed lurk on any map like Split, like Pearl, which are coming back into the pool as well, right? We're going to be entering the new dawn of the Astra, I swear. Especially when you have a good player like Menace on that agent, it's doing really, really well, I think, for this squad. Like I said, it's bringing that stability. And then we also saw the Operator, so I'm like, ooh, interesting there. And I'm questioning if we're going to see that continue or if it was a one-off because of their success over on Bind. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? And that's also what is the most exciting part about this. And this is also a moment for Fisher Tea Party, again, if they do decide to fall back onto that standard composition where they don't have to play maybe roles that they aren't so comfortable with. I mean, Javi was really popping off on the Sage, but what could they do if given another agent? What could they do if maybe they had in their hands KO or a Sova, right? A lot of different answers, hopefully, that we get out of Ascent from this team, and something that's a little bit more of a map that they are comfortable on. Obviously, their map choice. Again, though, it's Ascent, so it's everyone's comfortability map pick.
Okay. I think you're right. I can talk about, right, Javi and Kenny or KM Lord because they were playing, right, for this team last year. And on Ascent, they were on that Omen and that Sova role, respectively. But like we said, if Menace is coming in, if they are the superior controller, Javi was also a flex player for this squad, right? They would pull out the Gecko, they would pull out the Viper. So I think bounds are going to be limitless here. And I think you could have just like hit the nail on the head and they're going to pull out the KO, and that's a new role they had to learn and adapt to. But it really depends, again, how these newcomers are going to conform to, I guess, the mold that Ascent has set in these compositions.
Yeah, we don't really get that much flexibility out of it anymore. And I mean, a team like TAMU Maroon is the one who can get out of that mold if they need to, and if they want to break it, they totally 100% can. But we do have Agent Select, and so let's see if things are going to look like it should, or my goodness gracious, Obi, you couldn't have written this script any better if you even tried. This can't... Am I going crazy? This can't be right. It's complete and total mirror matchup.
This is not a production error. This is quite literally Fisher Tea Party saying, we are going to take your composition and try to beat you with it. And I'm concerned. I'm not going to lie to you. Like I said, Tamu's been playing the Deadlock for a really, really long time. So the fact that you're just now pulling it out, that this is a teeter away from what you played last semester. And I mean, you said it. You wanted Javi on an agent other than the Sage. Well, you got it, trying to best the best out of Naber here. And I'm just scared because, like we said, we feel like the advantage, the start that Fisher Tea Party got off to was kudos to that, I guess, unfamiliar composition. But TAMU Maroon, they wrote the playbook for this comp, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Naber has the lineups. We saw it on Bind. They were perfect on them every single time. They understood when the grav net needed to go out. They understood when the wall needed to come up, and they were able to do it in the right positions that didn't force them into situations where they were having to take fights that they didn't need to. And if you go inside a tree right now, Fisher Tea Party, you better be ready, because you are sonic censored out of your minds. You try to dash out of there, you get blinded by the paranoia. Javi has it on the uptake, though. They grab the first blood, but inside, Aussie Frosty, whoa! Pull the brakes down on the ground for a second here. Aussie Frosty, this is round number 1, buddy. You can't be doing this to the enemy like this already. You can't be going for the round 1 ace. If you wanted to do it, if you wanted to show it off like this, that is the way to do it. Round number 1 ace.
Bro said I was robbed of my 30 bomb on Bind. It's not gonna happen on Ascent. I want that first blood stat. I want all the stats farming. And even the fact that they got team grief with the net, even the fact that even the counter from Fisher Tea Party was trying to not even figuratively tie them down so they couldn't counter that flood into the A site. None of that mattered. And sometimes, you know, crowd shots are more accurate, and that's exactly what Aussie Frosty was able to show. So the ace coming online, and the only thing is, because they ace, they don't have credits to share with the rest of the team, right? So you see some stingers, and it's going to be, again, Aussie Frosty now just propelled onto this pedestal. Hero rifle, full shield, and let's see what they can achieve for it, especially since they're the player that's playing solo mid here.
It's not often we get to have the one player bankrolling the team, but this is the world that we live in. It's an Aussie Frosty Ascent, and we're all just lucky to be able to witness it.
Oh.
This is disgusting, Joba. They didn't even really need to do anything. I was about to say, if we were about to get a second ace, I was going to lose my mind, but this is actually Fisher Tea Party having that fight back for themselves. A Bulldog's been given up as well as a Spectre. They still have to contend with Vandal, Stinger, and other such
Aussie
weaponry
Frosty
as well. Yeah, and Aussie Frosty, I mean, who's been going off on a tear of their own. The spike is planted too, so extra credits in the pocket for them. 1v3 make that now. Let's see, Aussie Frosty, not quite easy enough. Muta's gonna get rid of them, but they do get a Vandal back in their hands.
And again, I love how Naber is playing this deadlock, right? Yes, you have a Sova, but they fall early. So what do? You use your net for information, right? It gets the I guess, what is it considered? It gets the detain, I'm gonna call it, I guess, the crouch on to Muta, so you get that confirmation that there's a player there. So now you just have to worry about, all right, where is Bad? They find Bad, and now they just swarm the remaining Boathouse player. So they're gonna carry the weapons that they did keep over, right? That Bulldog collected, the Stinger, the Vandals, and the rest just buy up just enough so they can still have a buy next round. And this is where for Fisher Tea Party, it's a must-win, or things are gonna get dicey for you here, especially since I'd say you're starting out on the attack, where, I mean, yeah, it's a double senti, but you saw how Javi was over on Bind.
Oh, absolutely. Give them that opportunity, give them a chance to be able to cook here. And Aussie Frosty is playing with the fire that could cook them. They do get out, though. Here's the Owl Drone coming their way inside a tree, tagged by the recon bolt from the Owl Drone. And I don't blame Fisher Tea Party, right? You see Aussie Frosty and Tree, we do not want a repeat of what happened there. But the flip side is, Aussie Frosty is going to find greener pastures, hopefully in mid, and with that smoke going up, knowing that they need to play more towards this B site. Down on the ground, though, down at logs. Joba lands the clean headshots with a Stinger. KHS, though, hurting down on the ground, 28 HP. Aussie Frosty just has some X-ray vision, has some insight to the... Oh, wait, no, there's a crack in the wall. That's what they have. And they're going to do it again. Aussie Frosty, they were MVP of Bind, and it's looking like it's going to be no different here on Ascent. This player is locked in.
And the silver lining here is Javi's at least able to get the plant, but how long after can they last that smoke phase, and so do their chances. Like you said, Aussie Frosty on a tear. One player stunned up, but no way to punish. This crossfire is going to be lethal. As soon as Aussie Frosty breaches the threshold, we should see Billy Chilling go for the swing, and they go for the trade. But now look at this. Javi, also knowing how to navigate the situation, tries to split up the remaining forces of TAMU Maroon, but again, they are in sync. The mind meld successful. The Neuralink carries them. Okay, maybe a miscom there, I'm joking. Into the defuse and into the bonus conversion for a 3-0.
Okay. All right, Aussie Frosty, please give me... We need a second here, right, to talk about this stat line for Aussie Frosty, because they are 9 kills deep in round number 4. Only a singular death. They already have their ultimate online. Joba 2 on the flip side. Not much to get there for the Cypher, but this is unbelievable pressure that we're getting from Aussie Frosty, and they're just destroying Fisher Tea Party, it feels like, on every single avenue.
Yeah. Try to treat Bind as a fluke, right? 13-9 should not even be close is what TAMU Maroon is now aiming for. And again, I go back to the fact that they're mirroring the composition from the side of TAMU Maroon, taking the play out of their book, studying off of their notes, and as a result, it's really not going up to the same caliber as the original version, which so far for TAMU has been getting the job done. Nabarosty, nice little double team here, and it could just be the Jet, Bad, the Duelist isolated if they're not careful.
Being careful though. Yeah, Muta's not. Only a couple of bullets you heard from Bing chilling. Muta's gone. All eyes are on Asti Frosty, seeing if they're gonna walk in there.
No escape.
Not quite yet. They're gonna regroup with the rest of the team and push on to the B site. This is also where a Cypher is. Avi's electing to... That wall, I think, is not gonna be able to stop too many. You can still walk around it, I believe, onto site, or you get rid of one of the orbs to open it up. And Min is trying to clear through. Didn't look towards Boathouse, where Joba had planted themselves perfectly. And in tandem with Asti Frosty, Texas A&M Maroon. Unstoppable right now, 4-0.
And Joba playing that defense to a T, right? Playing their life, understanding that no one's going to walk into that trapwire because of the scale, because of the frag that Bad was able to find. So what do? They reposition backside, they play for the stairs entry, and as soon as Asti Frosty's reflooded in from CT, and they recognize that there isn't going to be a stairs player, they can repivot to lane, and, I mean, granted, they were also able to, I guess, capitalize off the mistakes for sure Tea Party made there, notably Menace going in alone without any tradability from the rest of the team, and it just kind of fell apart from the remaining 3 members there. So again, 4-0 flawless so far for TAMU Maroon Fisher Tea Party without a buy, but with some ultimates that could help with conversion.
Yeah, and Texas A&M Maroon doesn't even play forward on A, right? They're waiting for the Nabber sonic sensor to go off, and here it is too. You just put in the wall, you stop them as quickly as you can. The real issue is when they start firing all through that using their sheriffs. On the flip side though, guess what? Texas A&M Maroon gets to do the same exact thing, but with Vandals. And now with their head pretty much chopped off, Fisher Tea Party really has no way to get on site. You've lost your Sova Initiator, and you've lost your Jet. Any way to push onto the site died with them.
Just like that, we see again the benefits of a stack, the benefits, say, of that sonic sensor. And it is interesting that TAMU decided to go for that 4 stack over towards A. But I think it's a credit to, just again, this double sentinel, right? You don't necessarily need players to watch these common angles because, oh, I have a sonic sensor in tree. Oh, I have a trap wire mid. And even B main, that choke point is just swarmed with Joba's own utility here. So what we're trying to see is them isolate the weak point, which in this case is tree, just because of the fact that they were able to find Nabber early on. A nice wall that's actually just going to rob them of information as they go for this B rotation, but you're going up against a double sentinel. They're going to have information elsewhere, and that is perfect now to cue Joba in to action.
That's
Spike
spike.
out and time is ticking.
That's the spike right at their feet. Javi had to jump onto the side and get rid of Joba. They do manage to do that, but the rest of the team descends upon them like piranhas. There's nowhere that Fisher Tea Party could have gone. Nothing that feels like that they can do right now. Zobi, I'm starting to understand too why Texas A&M Maroon having the opportunity to start off on defense, this is nothing short of demonic.
Yeah, this is the half that they chose, right? Asti Frosty, 11-1, right? When you look at Bing Chilling, right, who's been doing their job, 6 assists already, 2-1, it just shows how much impact they are bringing to the table. The fact that, like, they aren't dying early on, they either win out the frags from the get-go, or they're even there to be that closer. I talked about it wanting to see Nabber be the closer, Asti Frosty be the opener, and we don't need the closer, because Asti Frosty, never needs it.
Zobi, I'm gonna spoil the TAMU Maroon playbook right now for Ascent, which I think is Asti go kill.
I've seen that before from a few teams.
Yeah, and I think it's working. It's a very good strategy because a lot of it, like you said, it feels like it's just setting Asti up for success. And that's where we're seeing a lot of assists across the board for the team, where Asti Frosty is topping the leaderboard with the 12 kills so far now. This is going to be...
I like this, though. Because look at this, right? The fake being sold by the deadlock, but this sonic sensor, they're just going to play contact with the paranoia. And unfortunately, they decide to dislodge from the angle just too early. And as a result, the paranoia doesn't land how they hope. And all the fries are starting to crumble in favor of Fisher Tea Party.
Yeah, and Asti Frosty's going to put the pedal to the metal, get back over there. Here's where things get cheeky. Joba, you see me? What are you doing? You're going to still hit the TP right in front of them? Insane players.
30 seconds.
Insane. That's all I gotta say about that. Finally, though, this demon that is Asti Frosty has been put out to pasture for Fisher Tea Party. An opening a dim light through the clouds that have been overcast above their heads.
Ooh. And just like that, like you mentioned, that flawless spree comes to a close. And I think it, like I said, came to the fact that Bing Chilling, you know, maybe a little bit over eager to reposition, versus if they held the switch position, waited for the contact off the sonic sensor, it would have been a chef's kiss. And I think that also then came from Javi and their ability to sell that fake through mid over towards B. It drew Aussie Frosty so that they couldn't be that double punish off the sonic sensor in tree. And it dislodged what I mentioned was this beautifully crafted defense from TAMU Maroon.
Popping off with the ultimates, and this Fisher Tea Party going fast as they possibly can. That's kind of the issue, though, right? And then that is a perfect annihilation.
Oh.
Not quite perfect enough, though, because they were able to eliminate it and get it out of there. The team's not able to push past it, though. And guess what? Joba's prepped and ready to go with a tripwire of their own. It did take them a little bit of time to get there, right? They had to eliminate one of the orbs or walk past it just a little bit. And you see the intersecting deadlock walls in mid. The spike is going to be planted by Fisher Tea Party, and it felt like this team just needed a little bit of time for them to really get going. It's a 3v5.
Ooh. And this is, I think, the first time we really have to see a disadvantage retake from Texas A&M Maroon, right? Joba really hasn't vacated the site before, right? They live by the site, they die by the site, and usually it's the former, where they just shut down Fisher Tea Party. And as a result, we might start seeing the weaknesses from TAMU Maroon with this composition being that they cannot retake without even putting here. Even the save now called. Aussie Frosty looking for economic damage because Fisher Tea Party not out of the woods just yet. But at this point, Javi is the one that's going to be drowning you. 3 kills on the board. Joba likely the only one that's going to get away with their life here. And that's going to be Fisher Tea Party with their second.
That's what we want to see. They did it flawlessly, too, so no one lost from this team. A couple of shields here and there need to be bought back up, but this is exactly the momentum that Fisher Tea Party was looking for. It's not dire straits just yet for Texas A&M Maroon, right? Really, the only one who can't buy anything is KHS, coming off the operator buy from the previous round. But Fisher Tea Party is really understanding the weaknesses that TAMU has been putting out. There's really no one mid to stop them from going in. And if Javi can adjust the positioning of their wall a little bit better, so that way they don't prevent the team from flooding as quickly as they want to inside of B, then could give them so much more value going into these next few rounds.
Mm-hmm. I'm definitely interested in the fact that the attack operator on Ascent is starting to work for this squad for sure. I mean, sometimes if you're having a rough game, yeah, pull out the operator. It was bad. What were they? That was their first kill was with the operator this game. Now, I mean, it got them another round on the board. Look at this. A change to the defensive approach from TAMU Maroon amidst their second loss in a row. Cypher utility now on A. The sonic sensor nowhere in tree. So Bing Chilling has a lot more pressure on them now than what I said before was a nice setup play off of the sensor. And as a result, I mean, it's just disrespect shown off of the Allo drone contact. And now Cat's out of the bag as well that the Cypher is on the A site.
That's just going to be good enough to say for Fisher Tea Party. Both of these players, they want to take that duel. They want to win the 1v1 against each other. They could be a massive boon in their pocket if they make that happen. But Bad, seeing the wisdom, the error of not letting that happen, is going to get out of there. That's a good Hunter's Fury. It catches them all inside of there. 2 players eliminated by KHS inside of spawn, and Aussie Frosty is perfectly fine from the Kinney Hunter's Fury. Nothing to be done there, and a spike at their feet. The second the smoke dissipates, KHS is landing these shots of 4K. This is Texas A&M Maroon right back in the game.
Yeah, ew, from the medical precision of that finisher to the Hunter's Fury. At not one point in that round did I look at Texas A&M Maroon and their positions on the minimap and say, oh, they're falling for this A fake through tree from Bad. Because all they were doing was like, Job was like, yeah, I got this. I'll jiggle it for info. And because they only saw those 2 players and there was no pressure mounting out of A main simultaneously, yeah, you're not going to rotate off that site. And Nabber just makes the first contact and is like, all right, let it rip. And KHS off of their own ping utility. It was absolute cinema, to say the least. So Texas A&M Maroon at least lock in 6 rounds here. And I think they're going to be looking for more than that 6-6 we saw over on Bind.
Absolutely. And this one-way smoke is always good enough to stop Fisher Tea Party, even though no one from TAMU is actually in that forward position. Wall is going to come up, and again, they're slowed down, so they're forced to either shoot towards heaven to get rid of Nabber, or shoot at the wall to get rid of it. And that's what they're going to be doing, hoping that getting rid of it there's enough time for them to swarm onto site to stop them from doing anything. And the good news here for Fisher Tea Party, right? They've gone through the gluttony of
Spike planted.
deadlock utility to get them onto the site, and now they're able to answer in kind. Wall came up there. The post plan is going to be devious because of their own deadlock utility.
Yeah, this is what I said. The retakes are difficult for TAMU Maroon. This time it's even footing, maybe minus that annihilation, but it robs them of the kill because Bad is ahead of all of it. They now know they're playing that elevated position, but like you mentioned, these sonic sensors are doing so much delay, and so is this crossfire. It's only KHS, and you may have gotten a 4K the previous round to bring it back, but this round, that's not going to be the case. The proactivity and that post plan is clean. There is one thing they copied word for word from TAMU Maroon. It is how to close out those rounds once the site has been taken.
Yeah, it's difficult for them to get back onto the site, and that's kind of what it feels like when you're losing out on the KO. You don't have flashes, you don't have the knife to take away agent utility. And so really you're also playing that guessing game of where are they on the site? Are they because even though KO Knife doesn't give you that much information, it at least lets you know somewhat of where they are. And Fisher Tea Party doesn't really care. They know exactly where they're standing right now, and it's all eyes on B, all foot stomping towards getting onto the site as quickly as they can and overwhelm. Prevent Texas A&M Maroon from having the numbers on their side. Get rid of the sonic sensor. Joba stuck in the corner, being chilling, nowhere to go. The sonic sensor net was in there. It's all just bing, 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 bing all over the place. But it's bing, 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 bing. Who's down on the ground? Removed. Aussie Frosty. So low on the HP, so dangerous in their attempt to get out of there, but it's still a 2v2. Javi was so close, but the jump may have saved their life. Now stuck back in Boathouse, the rest of Texas A&M Maroon are hurting massively.
And I mean, I love that outcome revolved around a game of chicken with the deadlock net in Boathouse, and it going the way of Fisher Tea Party has now placed Aussie Frosty in the 1v2. 24 HP. If anyone get it done, it's them, but they're up against Javi, the clutch master for Fisher Tea Party, and they even have a sonic sensor on the bomb to try and swing this,
unreal.
and it doesn't matter. It's Aussie Frosty, for crying out loud. They're cold in name and in performance. That clutch is going to keep TAMU Maroon with a guaranteed lead now at the half.
I can't. Aussie Frosty is not real, right? You had 24 HP and you needed to take on a 2v1 with both of the players spread out on the site. And then you had a sonic sensor right in front of you. But that didn't stop Aussie Frosty. They just kept walking forward. And I guess Javi was feeling a little bit too much of that pressure and wanted to take the fight too soon. But this is like the adaptation that we're getting from Fisher Tea Party that I'm liking, right? Get on the site fast, overwhelm the defenses, stop playing this slow game against TAMU Maroon, because that's where they come up the best. And they're going to try and do that again, right? The only reason that round was won is because of an Aussie Frosty hero round. But the hero had a cape. They went up into the air. Fortunately, mute up their kryptonite.
That's why Edna doesn't like capes, but
No.
Joba doesn't have a cape.
every
They're
single
just
time.
your standard sentinel, your standard anchor here on the B side. But their performance is anything but. It's a game of A or B, and the B is correct because it buys enough time for the rest of the troops to rally for the flood in. And Texas A&M Maroon get the round, and they're going to be trying to now go for this 9-3.
The Fisher Tea Party felt like a chicken without their head there.
Yeah.
Getting caught by that tripwire multiple times was just painful for Muta. They couldn't figure out where the trip was to actually destroy it. And by the way, so far for Joba versus Menace, it has been 3 kills for Menace coming out of their TP against Joba. Not been a good time for them. Joba just, they have the read on this Omen, and every single time it costs them their life. Joba's also going to be seen by the recom dart, but who cares if KHS is continuing to put up the numbers with that Hunter's Fury. Fortunately for Joba, caught inside of a net like a fish, being reeled in. Team's not going to be able to save him here, but I mean, look at this. There's basically no HP. You can take your time on these eliminations, or you can just be KHS and blast away. Remove all of their heads one by one. It's 14 HP. Bad has to do the Aussie Frosty maneuver here.
And now they're full blind.
No,
The
no.
TP, the stare down. Bing chilling, gonna be good for the defuse. And for me there, Sam, I mean, just the fact that Joba anchored that long, even with the fear of the annihilation, prickling their skin. They leave, their team with that parting gift of so much chip damage. The spray down of the Phantom through that cage, connecting not just on to Bab, but I think also Javi, so that, like you mentioned, KHS can have that little frag movie. So yes, Joba may be the middle of the scoreboard, but that ACS is gonna be wild. And when we get to the post-game summary, they lock in the 9-3 here, and I think we're gonna have to see a major comeback for Fisher Tea Party and a similar, I guess, airtight defense. But what I'm looking forward to, right, Sam, is the fact that we get to see how the defense approach is different with the same comps, right? Because I don't think they copied them, play for play from their strat book, and that's already showing on the minimap. I mean, granted, it's a pistol.
But you think about that pistol from the previous half, right? The
Frosty.
Frosty Ace. Why did that happen, though? The sonic sensor inside the tree. But, well, also it's Aussie Frosty, that's why it happened.
Yeah.
But the sonic sensor inside a tree really was just like the hill that they were rolling off of. And Aussie Frosty, yeah, they're just gonna keep doing it, right? You maneuver around, you play, you dance. Being Chilling is more than ready for this this salsa dance that we just saw from them. And here it is. The post plant that Texas A&M Maroon gets to play with. They have the deadlock ready to go for it. The wall is up there, and this is the extra thorn in the side for anyone who has to deal with a deadlock wall in round number 1. You're doing it with pistols. Yeah, Joba never sitting down here and help. Yeah, you come over. It's all done. Wiped your hands clean of round number 1. The Joba flank may have taken a little while, but it all comes up. Fisher T. Well, sorry, rather Texas A&M Maroon.
Yeah, no, it's more like they're dunking the tea bags into the water at this point to enjoy a little snack later. But Texas A&M Maroon, right? I think in my mind that effectively avoids the 9-3 curse. You win out that pistol, like that's what you need if you're Fisher Tea Party to lock it in. And as a result, here they get the weapons. And this is where you might have seen Fisher Tea Party go for a force buy, but they're going for a similar force to what they did over on Bind, actually. The single Bucky. We'll get to see what it can do here because it's scaling up off the one-way, off the grav net. And unfortunately, they're not going to fall for that, right? They have that information, that pseudo-initiator, as you will, of Nabra and that deadlock, and they're just going to wait it out.
You're not going to be anything more than that menace being caught inside of that net, and they don't want to go farther than they have to. Instead, play inside of the smoke with Bucky, get the maximum amount of value that you possibly can from it. Unfortunately here for Javi, seen by the recon dart. Javi could go further along if they want, but that is a dangerous affair, even for someone who is as dangerous as Javi themselves, and we're seeing that being reflected in the 65 HP they have to work with through the rest of this round.
And for now, scale up the lurk from Joba. We saw it prior, it was seconds away from getting impact. What it's done this time is make unimpeded space here over towards the B site. And now they know that Kenny's backside because of that utility usage. So what are they going to do? They're going to double swing. So neither die. The Phantom's still in action. The Ghost is still active. Austin Frosty's on a tear. I mean, might as well give them another ace, but KHS also has a Phantom in hand. Like, they are so confident. It shows in their buy, their maneuvers, and that is going to shut down that concept.
Yeah, and Joba's not falling into any trap here. Okay, bad. Okay, bad. Okay.
You want to give the ace, like I said. Oh, well, it'd be a 4K, but...
Okay. But back it up for a second here. And Menace is going to be able to TP past their own smoke, but they're only using a Bucky. Sensor tripped and is tripping up Menace.
They were definitely hoping, I think, to recover that Phantom that fell there over towards stairs, but Nabra's like, I'm gonna nab that and get back because we don't want to hand these guns over because that is their win con to close things out cleanly here to with denying even a second half momentum shift for Fisher Tea Party. And I think they do just that, right? They really didn't lose many weapons because if you look back at Joba, they had a Ghost. And now, as a result, they just carry them forward. And I think there's, again, a really serious chance that they were able to get another third-round conversion off of Fisher Tea Party.
See how serious things are going to be here. If Texas A&M Maroon have it in their hearts for a bonus, or Fisher Tea Party is not going to let a cent go the way it has been so far. It's 11-3. That's a monumental...
Fnatic Loud comeback incoming.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's still a scary number to have to contend with, but it's all step by step if you're Fisher Tea Party, one by one. One little sip of the tea, but look how far Aussie Frosty was able to go. That's a quick flick. And you're gonna have to check this guy's wrist because it may have just been broken in half. Kenny's still going to be able to get rid of them because Aussie Frosty had like literally nothing. But
KHS?
there is a big question that needs to be asked here. Nothing to stop them, really. KHS?
KHS?
No. Oh, he's so patient.
They're waiting for the smoke to
So
fade.
patient. This is perfect for them. It was all lined up. And like pins at the bowling alley. A strike. And for Texas A&M Maroon, match and series point for week number 1 of NECC Valorant.
At this point, yes, the spotlight's on KHS for that insane flank, that 2 piece that could have been 3. But I don't want that spotlight to blind you from the fact that when I looked at that B setup, I saw, yes, Muta on site, yes, Kenny on site, but did you see any Cypher utility? I saw no cages, no trap wires, no nothing. And I'm guessing that B main one probably was destroyed by Texas A&M Maroon, but compare that to Joba and their airtight hold on that B site, and it is staggering as to why we're just able to see Texas A&M Maroon get away with this. The direct site executes time and time again. This round, no exception off the Hunter's Fury. Yeah.
It's unreal from KHS. Every single time you need them to deliver with that Hunter's Fury, they always get at least 1. Most of the time, 2 or 3. Wada has no choice but to swing through, get ahead of that deadlock wall, and try to piece together something here. But Bing Chillin is instead piecing together the Texas A&M Maroon victory with that 3K. It's 13-3, 2-0.
And after, that map won, what was it, 13-8? They said we were just warming up, that was nothing to scoff at. And then once they get to Ascent, which is another map that they have in their wheelhouse, it was just smooth sailing, 13-3, only a few fluke rounds. And again, I think that's showing to me like the difference between these two squads again, right? A full complete playbook, a comfortability on all of the maps minus their Instaban of Abyss, which is understandably the newest map that they don't have competitive or collegiate experience on. And that's composed against this newer squad for Fisher Tea Party that has promise, has bad coming into their own on this new duelist role and new edition. Compounded with the experience from Javi and Kenny, and Javi insane in their own right. And I think they still need to work out their own identity, because I really liked what we saw on Bind, right? With that anti-meta composition, they felt confident. Versus once it got over to the, I'll call it for Ascent, you can see that the numbers don't lie. They were struggling a little bit once they got onto these differing roles.
Now here is interesting stats coming off of this Ascent map. The MVP is KHS, and I do not disagree with that whatsoever. That Hunter's Fury was massive every single time for this team. But Aussie Frosty's not too far behind, even though they're sitting at the 22-9. 17 ACS. They got the ace. It was cool. It was fancy. But KHS had so many different moments where they were really stepping up for the team and giving them so much value, whether it was the recon darts, whether it was through their Hunter's Fury. And on the flip side for Fisher Tea Party, Javi coming in, looking really good this season already. And they're doing this on the Sentinel roles of the Sage and of the Deadlock. Their Deadlock, not quite as clean as what we get from Nabber, right? Nabber has such a deep understanding of that agent that lends themselves to so much success. But I would like to see, like you said, more of that identity being established for Fisher Tea Party rather than trying to rise to the occasion of TAMU and what they are best at.
Yeah, no, possible. I saw you in chat earlier. Javi's going to be one to keep an eye on for those collegiate statistic charts for sure, because their individual performance, at least in this series, was off the charts. And I'm still just jaw dropped from the 300 plus ACS for both KHS and Aussie Frosty, especially after Aussie Frosty got that ace. We were like, oh, this is our MVP for this map, and KHS yoinking it away at the last second just because of the sheer impact they had. Even when they weren't able to finish off the job, right, with the Hunter's Fury, with maybe that flank play on to bad, it doesn't matter. They've gotten the damage. They have won out the round effectively for TAMU Maroon. And that's showing, again, this is, like you said, the newest player that was brought in to the land in Boise State to win CVAL champions, right? And they have just so at home with the squad.
It's looking cozy. It's looking warm. And it's looking like a week 1 victory for the CVAL champs. But you know what, Zobi? It's the end of the line here for us for tonight. It has been a lot of fun for week number 1 of NECC Valorant, but make sure you hit the follow button, right? We still have more action across a multitude of different titles happening here on the NECC esports channels, both on Twitch and I believe YouTube as well. In fact, tomorrow we have League of Legends with Boston University going up against UHSP Tactics. On Wednesday, Rainbow Six. Thursday, Rocket League, and finally to round out the week, Friday with Overwatch 2. Zobi, this has been an absolute pleasure to be able to sit down here with you on week number 1. We do also want to give a big shout out to our production staff behind the scene and our observers, Adam, Reachat, and Exotic, whom without, we wouldn't have been able to look as good, sound as good, or be able to see some of the most exciting moments coming out of these Valorant games. But until the next broadcast, everyone, goodbye.